talking about Season 2, Episode 2 of Beyond Oak Island. And this episode is based on this guy who, in the 1980s, recovered a steamboat that sank in the 1830s. And he's done a whole bunch of research, and he's found 2 more steamboats. The first one he found was under a cornfield, and then recently he did research and he found another one in another cornfield, and then another one he's discovered in the Missouri River. This is a description of what Episode 2 of Beyond Oak Island is about. Beyond Oak Island, Season 2, Episode 2, Riverboat Riches. Marty Lagina and Maddie Blake travel to Kansas City, Missouri to assist riverboat enthusiast David Hawley as he searches for 2 19th century wrecks loaded with lost bridges and American history. David Hawley and his son, they've started looking into these now. The one that he found in the 1980s, and he dug it up, I think it was in like 1988, that steamboat is called the Arabia Steamboat. And that boat sank in the 1830s. That boat was discovered in a cornfield, because since it sank in 1830, the river has moved quite a ways away from where the steamboat was discovered. And he discovered all kinds of stuff. He found guns, he found like general store merchandise. I was going to be going to general stores and all kinds of stuff. With the Arabia Steamboat that he recovered in 1988, like 3 or 4 years later, he opened a museum in Missouri. The museum is called the Arabia Steamboat Museum. It has everything that was on the Arabia Steamboat from when they dug it out. It's pretty incredible. And Marty asked, why didn't you sell any of it? And David Hawley was like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in keeping the wreck all intact. And they basically modeled the museum after the steamboat. When they dug it up, they recovered parts of the ship, and they had the steamboat paddle, and they rebuilt it to have it in the exhibition of the museum and have it spin in water like it was going. And this museum, the lower floor, it's basically the deck of the Arabia, and they made it exactly the length of what it was. And they have all different rooms for different things, and they found boots and shoes, china from other parts of the world, and all kinds of awesome things. The second one that Marty Lagina and Maddie Blake went out to investigate, David Hawley had done research into it, and they had found and outlined the wreck of the Malta. The way they do that is they have a magnetometer, they search the fields, and then when there's a big hit of like over 200, that is where the boiler for that steamboat is. From there, they can drill down on the sides and they can discover the outlines of the steamboat. And they know the measurements from records of the steamboat, so they can go from the stern to the bow. And once they've figured that out from those measurements, however wide the ship is, they can go from that point and measure 22 feet, or however wide it is. And then they can measure however long it is, and once they do that, they'll outline it, and then they'll put lime dust on the border so they know exactly the outline of the steamboat. When you hit the deck, it's oak, so it's like a bright, kind of like yellow wood. They have water pumping down there, and then they take like a screen that you use in gold mining for pans, where you put like the big material in it, and you shake it like that to get the smaller material into the pan that you're gonna pan for gold to see if there's gold. They use that screen thing and they put it in the river that they've created from the drill rig. When that starts happening, they'll get pieces of wood from the deck of a steamboat. A couple years ago, David Hawley had found the outline of the Malta steamboat, but what ended up happening is there was a massive flood and it took out all their measurements and stuff. That's why they had to redo it, and that's what Marty Lagina and Maddie Blake helped them with. The Malta sank in 1840, and the Radnor, she was built in 1843, and she sank 3 years later in 1846. On that run, she was heading up to a military base up on the Missouri River, and she was carrying about 60 tons of military supplies, cannons, artillery shells, and uniforms, boots, weapons, coins to pay the army men. So that's what the Radnor was carrying, and that is, and David had searched on land, didn't find anything, so then he went on shore and he kind of found where the Radnor was. So then Marty, Lagina, and Maddie Blake, they went out on a pontoon boat and had a magnetometer hanging on the front of the boat, and they went up the river. The baseline was like 52.1, and then they went up the river a little ways on another pass, and it started at like 130, and once they got on top of the Radnor's boilers, it went up to like 250 on the magnetometer meter. They have located the Radnor. The ones that are on land, what he does is, once he's found the steamboat, they send something in and they go retrieve artifacts just to see what's there. And on the Malta, they pulled up like 150 gold buttons. And everything that was on the Malta, it was going to be traded with Native Americans for furs and stuff like that. But it never made it to its destination. David Hawley has come up with a plan to retrieve the Radnor. And his plan is to bring 2 barges and have divers go down and dredge on the sides of the Radnor. And then once they've done that, they'll have the 2 barges, with the cranes, they'll lift it up a little bit, and then they'll send a barge down, sink it, they'll put it under the hull of the Radnor, and they're going to bring it up intact. That's his plan for the Radnor. And then his other plan, when he goes to recover the Malta, he wants to have a team that is knowledgeable in like old shipbuilding. He wants to have that team dismantle the Malta and number each piece, and then he'll assemble it in a museum for the Malta steamboat. That is a little review of what episode 2 of Beyond Oak Island was. I hope you guys enjoyed this really interesting stuff about it, and that's another thing I might have to look into in the future, getting into, is recovering old steamboats that sank in the 1800s, because it's very interesting to me, and I've always been fascinated with shipwrecks and treasure. If I hear any updates on this, I'll possibly keep you guys in the loop on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the bell icon down below so I can be notified when I upload videos. Also, please share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you guys for watching, and if you ain't dreaming, you ain't living. Don't forget to dream big.